Alvin Kamara, Julio Jones. That is a nice start to a draft. Got Hide Your Girlie, Hide Your Wife on docket today. Reber started with Alvin Kamara in the first round, came back, grabbed Julio Jones. We'll start talking about the running backs first. You got Alvin Kamara and Chris Carson. Chris Carson is one of those guys that just comes in, does great, and you get the fantasy points, and you don't really think about a lot about it. But he runs hard. He runs for 100-yard games all the time, and in this scoring where you get 5-point bonus, that's fantastic. Then you went and grabbed J.K. Dobbins. A little bit of a wild card, how much he's going to be used, but the John Harbaugh seems to think he's going to be used, and it's all about how they split that with Mark Ingram. So in the 6th round, it is what it is. Then you went into self-protect mode. Latavius Murray, Carlos Hyde, Murray on the Saints, covering Kamara, Hyde on the Seahawks, covering Carson, and then grabbed Darrell Williams in the 15th round, which from all indications, they're talking about using Darrell Williams in the first week. That'll be short-lived, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire will take over the entire backfield there. But in the 15th round, what the heck, especially if there's an injury. You never know. But Kamara and Carson is a great start. And then you look at, because you have an insurance policy over injury on Murray and Hyde, that helps you out where you don't need as much of the depth, and you got J.K. Dobbins as a bit of a wild card there in the 6th round. I get it. Not a lot of upside with that, but it is kind of like boring, but it's a good strategy for your team because you know who's going to take the rock if your guy goes down, so at least you have him. Then you look at your wide receiving core. I will say, albeit it's very shallow with 4 guys when you're starting 3 a week. But you have Julio Jones, stud, Terry McLaurin, who is my vote to get top 5 wide receiver this year, and you got him in the 5th round. And then Deebo Samuel, who's injured right now, might not play week 1, which means you're going to have to start a rookie wide receiver of Michael Pittman week 1. Or 2 tight ends, which you could do. But that's pretty shallow. But it's really heavy on talent. It's top heavy on the talent. So being able to grab some mid-range guys is not going to be that big of a deal. So I'm not too concerned about it. But it is something to be aware of that you're going to need to maybe flip that around a little bit. Maybe not taking Darrell Williams and taking another flyer on a guy late might have helped out. Maybe not taking Michael Pittman at 10 and get somebody that's a little bit more of a veteran, more consistent, somebody that you knew after you had Deebo you might need week 1. But, there's still guys out there and you can figure that out. But having Julio and Terry is a great start, and Deebo was phenomenal at the end of last year. And they have nobody else to throw to outside of George Kittle. You got Tom Brady in the 9th round. This could go down as being the best draft pick that you have on the entire team. If he does the Peyton Manning, I'm going to go somewhere else and I'm going to prove to him that I still have a cannon of an arm and they're going to throw for 50-plus touchdown style. 100% could happen. I mean, he's got the wide receivers, he's got the tight ends, he's got the offense. Everything is boding well for him. The question is that he's a lot older than Peyton was when he moved. And we'll just see what happens. I mean, you don't really know, but you did get Carson Wentz, who's currently nursing an injury, which he's always doing. If Carson Wentz could stay healthy, he'd be one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but he can't stay healthy. So who knows how soon we see Jalen Hurts in that offense. There's a reason why they took a quarterback in the 2nd round when they had a franchise guy, because they won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles because their franchise guy was hurt. So we'll see. Grabbing Mark Andrews in the 4th round. I mean, obviously he is a great tight end. He had a phenomenal year last year. The question I have is that what could you have had your team look like if you took another wide receiver maybe? Because you took Terry in the 5th, and so there's somebody even better than him in the 4th. And then you got Eric Ebron in the 16th. Now that's the question, is that will Eric Ebron be Eric Ebron, what was it, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Or is he going to be the normal Eric Ebron who drops a lot of passes but maybe catches a few touchdowns? You got Andrews, and I think that's the way to go. But it makes you always think, afterwards. It's like when you take one of those guys, it's a little bit higher than most people are taking them, with a few of the top tight ends or a few of the top quarterbacks, what that does to the rest of your team in a chain reaction. This one I don't think really affected you too much. I still like the rest of your team. You have good depth outside of what we talked about on the wide receivers already. And then you got the Colts defense, which, 11th round might be a little early for the Colts defense, but they do play the Jags week 1, so you're going to feel really good about that first game. Really good. Just remember that they are playing the Jags week 1, and when they actually play an NFL team, they might not look as good. But they've been doing a lot of work on that defense, and I think that they are posed for a breakout. But I don't know if I would have drafted them in the 11th round, but that's neither here nor there. Overall, this team is strong. I do not look forward to playing against this team with my team. This team right now is an A minus, and I haven't gone through all of them yet, but this might be the best team in the draft this year. It's pretty good. You got really good balance with your running backs and wide receivers. You're not really heavy and light on one or the other as far as overall starting talent. As I did talk about, the depth at wide receiver is a little shallow, but with the guys that you have, you're not going to need a whole lot of depth there. But when you draft a guy like Deebo Samuel, who's still questionable to play in week 1, you need to make sure that you have a backup plan. And maybe that backup plan is Eric Ebron, but I wouldn't feel good about that. But A minus because you pick up a wide receiver off the waiver wire and you're feeling really good about this team. Overall, I'm very nervous about hide your girlie, hide your wife. You might as well just hide my team.